I'm saying this because of the friends that always step away from trying to introduce their friends to plugs.
There's no, I don't see. Here's what I don't understand about people. Why would you be a gatekeeper in hoarding your resources in terms of? What up, everybody? It's your favorite podcast, man. We are back. Happy New Year to all of you that are watching. My name is Michael Scenario.
And I'm Murewa.
And you are back on Menisms. Happy New Year 2023. New energy, new vibes, but the same podcast. How you doing, Maji?
Not bad, man. I'm pretty excited for the year.
I think we
have some big plans for everyone.
Some of us, we have some life in us still left after a very interesting dirty December.
Very interesting.
The energy is in the inside, but as you can see, we're recovering. It was a long. How was your dirty December, man?
It was a lot quieter than the previous ones I've had, I'll be honest. I mean, I did go out. I was outside for a bit, but there was just so much going on. Like, traffic was times 100. Like, cab prices were ridiculous. Petrol scarcity.
And the thing is, this is why we say to all of you that live outside of Nigeria, come to Nigeria outside of December. You will not face the problems that you face in December because everybody's here. Because even for me, like, same thing. I was working mainly. Obviously, my work involves me being out, but I wasn't out voluntarily when I didn't need to be. I'd rather be at home because that's stress, man.
But it was long.
But yeah, man, we got some more Menisms for you guys. Again, continue to subscribe to our channels, whether it's Spotify, whether it's iTunes. Continue to support. We appreciate you guys. Every episode we've done so far definitely has gotten high number of views on YouTube, so can imagine everything. So thank you. All right, so we're going to start with a comment/question we got online. Continue to send them. So first off, hi, I really love your podcast. I don't miss an episode. I have a situation, or should I say situationship, with this guy. We initially stated that we didn't want a relationship, but I guess I started catching feelings. Anyway, he makes it seem like he really likes me, but at the same time, he acts like he's not serious. Every time I want to have a discussion with him about us, he keeps asking me how my other men are. I know he has other babes because he has made it clear that he does, but he tells me I'm number one. LMAO, that sounds really silly now that I'm typing it. Anyway, I want to end it all, but I can't seem to find the strength to. Not only because the D is too good, but because I like who I am sometimes with him. Please, what do you advise? This is why I say women, we are here to be real. This is why I say some women, you are your own problem sometimes. With all fair, and I don't mean that in an attacking way. Here's why. If you want me to be real with you, I'm here to help you, my sister. Okay, we're here to help you. You're not supposed to be asking us. And here's why. Tell me if I'm wrong, because this is why his opinion. The reason I say that is because I can relate. I'm a guy. No, as in I'm a man. I mean,
same.
We're men. Look, we're going to relate with the guy because we've been there. Now, if it's because in the end, I can give you not like the answer you want to hear, basically. If you want me to be honest, because as a guy, I'm going to give you the answer you want to hear. But in the end, it's a decision you are going to have to make. To be honest, it seems like you answered it yourself when writing it. It's just that obviously your emotions might be playing a part, which is fair. We've all been there, because even us as guys too, let it not seem like, it's always women that are going through it. Also, we've been through it with girls that were like, we're not supposed to be messing with this girl, and we're still going back. And
not this bastard throwing the shit at me. We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
I said to you, it wasn't until like halfway in that I said, "Ooh, damn." Anyways, but what do you think?
So I'll be honest, right? I think to some extent as well, we as guys need to take some accountability, right? And let me tell you why I say so. So, from everything she's described, right? I mean, I can relate to the scenario because I've definitely been there. And we as guys do some things as well where we know we like the woman, right? Now, it depends on where you are, what stage in life you are. You know, guys are mostly in places where they're not ready for a relationship, but they want that companionship. They want that, you know. So, but they don't want a relationship like... Now, not wanting a relationship doesn't necessarily mean that it's because they're trying to mess around. It's not always because of that. It could also be that they know they're not ready to fully commit. maybe because they have some previous trauma that they've not completely, recovered from, and they don't want to have to carry that into a new relationship, and they're still like in the healing process, right?
But the thing is, a lot of women say now that we use that as an excuse every time.
See, let me tell you this, right? This is what I say to some people. If that is my reality, if you think it's an excuse, then I'm sorry. Then take it as that. Like I can't because of you.
I can't force
because
you
of you
anymore.
now start creating new scenarios that are not my reality just because I want you to believe something.
I had to tell some girls this year. I said, "Look, I'm in a better place this year. You get mentally. However, there's some things I need to work on myself.
Exactly.
And
so
I will not lie to you. If we start now, I've not worked on myself to commit to you.
Thank you.
So,
very much.
and again, it's like you said something key that sometimes women overlook, especially when it comes to certain guys in certain positions or certain looks, is that saying you don't want a relationship is not about having other girlfriends, having every other girl. It is like, we know there's a point as a guy, you yourself know what it takes to be in a relationship.
And
like,
a proper one.
Like me, I've seen it, like obviously being in one now, that almost the commitment you need in it is like
yes, you guys
100. So I'd rather just not give you 80. I said 80%. That's even a lie. 50%.
Exactly. And the thing is, you see, so because I can definitely like resonate with where she's at, because right now, obviously she's enjoying sex, right? And so there's that. So, it's drawing her in, but I'm sure she's also at the point where the sex is no more enough to like keep her in that, will I call it a toxic situation? Because it's toxic for her. Toxic for her because she's
keeping her though. She just said it herself.
Sorry?
She just said it
herself. Yeah, no, but that's not the only thing keeping her though. Like, he's also telling her things to keep her, saying things like... She's
also being herself. She's being herself. She likes the version of herself.
Exactly. And of course, you see, I'm not going to blame the guy for that, because the guy's probably just being himself and she likes who she is around him. So that's not the guy's fault, right? But if the guy is saying things that are misleading her, that's a different thing. I don't know.
But wait, because he
said that she's number one.
No,
I mean,
no, there are other women. He said that he has made it clear that he said that let's go back. Every time I want to have a discussion with him about us, he keeps asking how my other men are. I know he has other babes because he has made it clear that he does.
Before you continue, first of all, it's very toxic. I've done that a few times where you want to like kind of like divert, so you be like, how are your men? How are your guys?
I only ask that question when you ask me that question. When you say how my other babes, how are your other men?
Yes, exactly. So I think again, it's two of them are the ones to actually sort themselves out.
Hey, man.
The guy has to be as transparent, especially if she has like clearly voiced out that she's really trying to take things to the next level, like really trying to.
Let's all start taking sex out the relationships and see what's up.
I think so, yes. so I mean, summary is, look, baby girl, you know exactly what you want and deserve. So I feel like you should just stand your ground, have that conversation with him, let him know
be
you're
strong,
trying to go to the next level.
You got this.
Yeah, and if he's not giving you what you want with the conversation, then I mean, you move on.
There's too many men around.
Yeah, so not everything works out the way you want.
All right, but yeah, let's get into today's topic. We're gonna branch a little bit, but we're gonna talk about something very interesting outside of the relationship and women topic, as some of you like to say. We like to talk about the most. But today's topic actually is about doing business with your friends or family. Should we say?
Actually,
and especially in a place like Nigeria, we always say that Nigeria is a man-no-man system because there are already no systems in place to sometimes do business. So at times it really depends on the people you know.
Yeah, actually.
And in doing so, most times it can be friends, family friends, friends of your parents, siblings. Just people you've grown up with in your network, because especially in a place like Lagos, it's so small. Lagos is big, but Lagos is small in terms of certain circles always interconnect somehow, some way. Okay. So by the time a lot of us get older, it's time to now start using those relationships in whatever field you have. So, I mean, the both of us now, we're blessed to be entrepreneurs. We have our own business that depends on people.
Yeah.
For starters, I think we can say, how would you say having people in Lagos helped you start your business? Or how did you start your business? Did you start it with people, or was it more of an individual thing? I think we both can answer that.
All right. So, so I think first of all, I mean, I can only again talk about my own peculiar situation, right? So when I was trying to start my business, I guess it was less about the outreach or the people that are going to support me, and more about like my product being good, right? Because one thing I try to do is, or one thing I make sure to do is, I'm trying not to leverage my relationship and use that to mix my productivity. There's some people who would do bare minimum service because the person is your friend, the person is your brother, the person is your this, right? So for me, what my product was more important than the people that are supporting me. So I wanted the product to be good first, then the people can support me after. Now, after, of course, crossing the hurdle of the product being good, I got to find that, see, there's a funny thing about Nigeria per se. And one of the things is, for you to really get your friends to support you, I don't want to say you kind of always have to be in their face about it, but you kind of always have to be in their face about it, right? Yeah. Now, except it's the people who you interact with daily, in which case they already know. I mean, interacting with them daily is almost like also being in their face, but not just actively, right? It's maybe based on other things. You guys do other work together. You guys, like family, you guys see each other every day. So those ones you're in their face, but not voluntarily, right?
Yeah.
But then there are some friends that you always have to remind them, remember, I'm also a designer. Remember, I'm also, stuff like that. Again, you're not saying that they're bad friends because of that, but the way Nigeria is, you just kind of have to always, because everybody always has somebody that does that service you do.
You know what's funny? You saying that is that that's why sometimes I feel like a lot of people go out more than they should. Because sometimes I always say you need to mark attendance.
Yeah, so the networking.
So that marking attendance is you going to this wedding, you going to that party, or
so that way you're in their face.
Like even if we don't have a conversation about the business,
they remember that
you don't
I
see
saw
me
him
because especially now with the power of social media now. Oh, don't worry, we did. That's what I said. No, entrepreneurs, baby. Don't let the fine boy fool you. But like you said, like even for like my business now, like you just said, like you saying that is like, obviously it started a while ago, but even recently with, doing Sunday Last Share now, because obviously I'm in the events industry, so I've been doing events for years whereby it's people that actually help my business. So obviously everybody coming to my parties, the product was the party itself. The party be banging, so word of mouth already spreads. So I was going to say social media now, especially in our environment, plays a very big factor. Yeah. Because everything is so small, there's also what I've realized in the business of Nigeria is good and bad in terms of the familiarity. Yeah, exactly. Because, like you said, outside we're already interconnecting and all that. Then online you're seeing everything. Then that same thing you saw online, you're going to see me tomorrow that you can question me on it already and all that. So it's like every day. I realize everybody now, even if you have your own separate business, you yourself are a business. Yeah, of course, yes. Because even for me that I have a product now, for example, I've realized my Wash and I was a business too. Because even now, anytime I go to the beach now, you see people, hey, this beach. Now I started charging people. I can't, like, I ain't gonna lie to you. Like,
because you're an influence. So
come 2023, that's another little shout out to everybody here. If you want fun and enjoyment, I'm sending you invoice. I'm sending you invoice. I beg, this year we're getting paid. But let me ask you another question though with that. Now, we're doing business in Nigeria. I've also realized, like I said, that sense of there's good and bad in it, in terms of it's good because you can step out of your house and tomorrow like that you can meet one chairman, one big woman, or somebody that can change your life. Because I can't lie, there's been times I've gone out. People always say you're out every day. I'm out every day for a reason. Because the amount of people I've met from someone introducing, this is my boy, so and so. This is my boy. Like
this is really important. And you see, this thing you've spoken about now, I've had people tell me, "Oh, I'm outside," and I'll tell them, "Look, let me tell you something, right? The kind of stage you're in now, the work isn't going to come to you. Like you have to go to the
outside.
In fact, if you watch major TV shows like Suits or any of those shows that really talk about like the kind of business or based on the field that they're working in, you always see that somewhere in between they talk about going for some ball, going for like this, even if it's going to a club like Power. You see, like,
Yo, that's why I tell people, Lagos, don't be looking down on people that go clubbing 24/7. Obviously, there's people that do that is for the enjoyment.
But it's more
for your
networking.
Industry, I've met, though, let me not lie to you. I've been inside the rooms of companies, banks. Like I just did a beach party for Fidelity Bank the other time, and I was supposed to do another one for UBA Bank.
Yeah.
So actually, switch it. I just switched it. I did it for UBA Bank, and
Yeah.
then I'm now supposed to do one for Fidelity. Yeah,
okay.
but I already bypassed a lot of going into your office, talking to one person. Why? Because I met the person on a night out.
Exactly.
I've met other company heads now that
Exactly.
we've sped up sponsorship talks because we met in the club. Oh, this is the chairman or head of this. What? Oh, I'm Michael Sonata. Hey, nice to meet you, man. Hey, you want a drink? Yeah, I do.
And
By
now
the way,
you're
what do
a
you do?
familiar
5
face.
seconds, and then this. That's why people don't realize you're still using a lot of office influences, or should I say, what's the word I'm looking for? Because I've not worked 9 to 5 in a while, but it's like, you know how they say that elevator pitch?
Yeah.
People don't realize even when you go out, you're doing your elevator pitch because you meet, like you said, you meet that chairman now.
Yes.
What's your name?
You have 5 minutes.
My name is so and so. What do you do?
Sell yourself.
And that's 2 minutes. Mind you, it's even harder because not an elevator where it's quiet. You are in the club. There's women. There's drinks.
And you have to pick words.
You have to say something in 2 minutes that guy will say, "Come and see me tomorrow."
Exactly.
You don't really say, "Hi, hello."
Yes, and this is where I think friends come into play, because now I have certain experiences with people who I've said, oh, patronize, support me, introduce me to this person and blah blah blah. But I find that there are two things, and I also say I'm guilty of this, right? If someone tells me to support their business and introduce them to someone, again, I still always look at the product, right? If the product's good enough, because in the end, whoever you're introducing them to is holding you responsible if anything goes wrong. Indefinitely,
Trust me.
And sorry, invariably. And if you end up introducing, the transaction falls out, maybe the person messes up the service, you're in the loop now, right?
It's your name.
Yeah, you're in the loop now, and you've now lost the floor to introduce another person. Because now they don't even rely on your recommendations.
Because even me, I can't lie. I've been guilty. Like I said, I happen to be on both sides where there's times I'm the one introducing people to other people based off who I am. But then a lot of people have introduced me to people.
Yeah.
And I had to learn, like I said, life is a lesson game where I've learned the good and bad, where there's times I've done very well from being introduced on the work that I got introduced to more people, but there's times I didn't deliver.
This is what that's what I want to talk about.
And that's something I had to even for this year now, if I'm being very honest, is like I've been blessed. I was even just sitting down this past week because I was finally resting and I was like, God, man, I'm actually blessed, like how I'm meeting people, and that's my work.
Yeah.
But then I realized there were some times I took on some projects, too many projects.
I couldn't,
and I couldn't deliver for other people, and then let's say work starts not coming in as much because Lagos is so small. That's the other bad part. Is like
that's where I was
if you fuck up, as we like to say here, you don't know who that person has gone to tell now. And like I said, you have nobody to blame for yourself if you can't deliver on something.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's a good and bad in terms of if it's good, that word can get to the next person quick. But if it's bad, it's like.
Yeah, and that's where I was getting at, because see that elevator pitch one, that's the one time you're fully responsible for the networking. So even if it falls out, you haven't had to drag in a friend or a family member or a partner into that chance. So that way, even if it doesn't work out and you fall short, you kind of know, okay, that was my L. I'll fix it up. And so sometimes, I'm saying this because sometimes I also don't actively tell my friends, oh, introduce me, because I'm also like, look, do I even have my shit together? Am I ready to take on whatever they're about? Because if someone introduces me to like a Tony Elumelu now and says, okay, deliver this, I'm not thinking, oh shit, and now I've brought this guy in, I can't tell him I can't deliver. I can't tell him, oh, I want to pull out. So sometimes that personal networking is important. Like you said, going out is because you can't always rely on your friends to hook you up.
You got.
So you have to do that personal networking. And that's why I tell people that say, look, me being outside, me trying to go for events, it's because you never know who you meet, whose brother is someone that is literally in your field of work, and is the breakthrough that you need.
I have a quick story time, and I always say this. Shout out to DJ Obi, by the way. That's my big bro, by the way. Naeem helped me this year. But it's like something like that. Like the reason I say this story time is because this is like the story that changed my whole perspective on stuff that made me just like focus. Like you said, like somebody like DJ Obi now, when he started Obi's house, for example, Obi would just call me a lot of times like, yo, come to my house. Right, yo, this is what we're doing for Obi's house. That's when it was Bolivar that I'll be following him to just go Bolivar every day early. Bro, the amount of people I was meeting from him just saying come, and people will see me with him. And they'll be
know,
like,
for
your
you
Obi's
to
guy
be
now and this.
exactly,
They'll
yeah.
come and start asking me questions, do this. Like people that said, I was plotting my own like behind the scenes. That's where Sunday like shared behind the scenes. Like I'm plotting that with my boys. Like we're watching Obi do this and he's giving us like a blueprint. So it's like, all right, let's start doing our thing. We're meeting people too. And from meeting people, it's like, okay, we're starting to do our own business. But like you said, because of that personal connection, we're returning the favor whereby we're promoting his own business, if that makes sense. And even with that now, I've realized now, even with Lagos now, that's why I said what I've started doing is like, I watched this movie. Have you watched this documentary on Netflix called The Black Godfather?
Yeah.
That guy is
yes.
So it's like now, even me, what I started doing is like every time I'm out, I introduce people like just you said I'm doing this is my guy. He does this thing and all that. So it's like that's the layup.
Yeah.
So now it's up to you to save myself. Now it's like me, I've done the layup. If you mess up, now you shall.
You know the thing is, so they're different. Like this branch just opens up to several other branches, and I want to touch on several things. One is even how you navigate when you work with a friend and it falls out and maybe you fall short. I'll get to that. But the one I want to touch on now is, so you see that introduce someone, like how you said, you just okay, this is my guy. Actually, you doing the introduction, if you introduce someone and the business works out between them, that person now sees you as a plug for other things. Let me give you an example. So let's say I'm out with my guys and then you come through. I'm like, this is my guy. We do this together. He's also into nightlife. He's also into this. If you have events, he does Sunday at Tilashe. And then, maybe the guy I'm introducing you to is maybe some CEO at a bank, right? And they want to do like an office retreat. And he's like, okay, you know what? Who's that your guy? Tell him to come to let him organize like a little party for us and then, send us an invoice and all that stuff. And then
Sunday last year office parties coming 2023, by the way.
All right, skirt.
I appreciate you.
All right. So now imagine how, I've introduced you. Now you guys work and then you guys work together. The party's lit. They love it, everything. Now, do you know that's also helped me? Now, let me tell you why. Because now that CEO is going to look at me as a good plug.
Oh, as in, this is the boy that brings this stuff. Now go and ask him
and so if he needs another service outside of this, maybe like I need a tailor. I'm almost now a reliable guy. So outside of just boosting my friend, I'm also boosting myself. Because now I put myself in a place where I'm a very reliable recommend. I recommend the best whatever it is that they need. And so I'm saying this because of the friends that always step away from trying to introduce their friends to plugs.
There's no I don't see. Here's what I don't understand about people. Why would you be a gatekeeper in hoarding your resources? In terms of nobody's saying, oh, go and give money out, but it's like you just said, the blessings that come from just introducing bro, I always, even like I just said, coming back to that Obi's house thing, every DJ you see there, every hype man, those are our guys.
Exactly.
So you see, like, I'm able to say, like, even when I see them at other events now or something, it's just like, Naila Share boys be this so. And it's like, even them, people come up to us, these guys work with you guys at Sunday Lashe. I like the vibe of them.
Exactly.
What's your event about?
Thank you very much. And you see, and that would have probably come from, okay, with DJ Obi, like, you know what, use this my DJ. Yeah. And then now if you tell him that you have a DJ to play on a night, he's not going to question it anymore. He's going to be like, whatever he's bringing is good stuff.
Let me ask you a question. What would you say was one of your best plugins in terms of like a testimony or a story of how somebody introduced you to somebody, you now ended up doing work for them that, changed some things for you?
So I'll say for me, so I have this cousin that works. So he works in oil and gas, so to say, right? And I mean, I'm not going to mention like what companies they were, but like one of the top, petroleum companies and, that we have here. So in the league of the Total, Mobil, that league. So I worked in one of them. So he was a staff there and they had a little project that they wanted to get on, right? And it was a substantially big project. And this was a project that had even like, they had started it like long ago and then they kind of paused and then they were trying to revisit. And so in revisiting, like maybe I had sent in a proposal then, but like this was like years ago, so it was a new management team, they didn't have any of that documentation. They were looking to even start with fresh sets of people. Yeah. And so, but I guess they were like, okay, you know what, rather than do fresh set, let them even see what had been submitted before and blah, blah, blah. And of course, my submission was in there as well. And so he now just passively mentions that, oh, look, this project is coming back up, right? Now, he just told me, like, okay, you know what? He can pull some strings and stuff and get me to have a seat at the table with the CEOs and whatnot, but I have to be the one to sell myself, right? And actually, show that I can get the work done. And I understood that he was he was putting his leg out a lot more than he needed to, particularly because, in the event that, it doesn't fall through, then he would be in a bad position, And so it won't look like, it will look like he's just bringing his family and not someone who was competent. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So he still ended up doing that. And I was like, okay, you know what? Of course, I was nervous as fuck, because this was a massive project. This was a project that someone of my level would normally not get. It would be like larger companies that would be getting this kind of project. So he gave me the floor, and he made it work. I mean, he just made it work, right? And this was literally a find me work type of thing. So he made it work, and I had the meeting with these guys, and of course I sold myself. It was amazing, and I ended up getting the project. Till today, I would always look back at that course and I'm like, guy. You
said something even when saying your story that I was like, that's another talking point about how in Nigeria, when they talk about doing business with family and all that, even with family, because most times in Nigeria, you're going to your family first before picking. I do a trick. It's not even a trick per se. Like, it's actually some real shit. Me, how many cousins I have?
Exactly.
Like, people be like, why do you have so many cousins? Don't you? And it's not even about business. I was like, we actually grew up together. I've always thought long term, like even when I was a kid, I always said, like, if me and my family members or cousins, we get into certain positions, at least I can say I know this person. Now as an adult, I was like, I now get it in Nigeria, because I didn't grow up with that system outside. It's like, America, other cities, I'm not saying they don't do it, but Nigeria, it's family first.
Yeah, and you see, the thing is, I also understand that, and I could understand that he hadn't experienced my skill firsthand per se. So it was like he knew I was good at what I do, but on that level, he wasn't sure. You know what I'm saying?
So with all this positivity, we also have to talk about the other side in terms of
that's the one I want to talk about now.
Have you saying no to friends when it comes to business, or having bad business?
Okay, so before we even get into the details of that, I wanted to just mention one small thing that we'll probably talk about later. One thing you get to find out is when you have business, when you do business with a friend, especially if it's like you're the one running the service, they're the one supporting, and it falls short. Maybe whatever happens, something goes wrong and it doesn't quite work out. Friends are a lot more unforgiving than strangers.
Oh yeah.
You don't get it. That friend would probably never give you another chance. And I understand that, the service would have fallen short, but isn't the advantage of being my friend to give me a second chance?
Let me tell everybody something I had to learn the hard way, and that's why I say I take accountability also in terms of with the success you have behind. That's why I always tell people, there's always a behind the scenes or stories you don't hear. It's trust me, there's some friendships, as much as I've gained a lot of great friendships with people, I've lost some good friendships too because of business over the years. I've been doing this 10 years, so there's the good and bad. And like you said, strangers were more forgiving on certain things that it's not even in your control, because especially for an industry like mine, that's the events industry,
and has a lot of other hands.
There is no structure. That's what people don't understand. And guess what? It's still not an excuse for any of us in Nigeria. That's what people don't realize. As much as we have no structure, we still don't have an excuse when it comes to our work. It's just, can you deliver? And when you don't deliver, that person that knows you, and that's why I said that familiarity that's there makes it now feel like more of an entitlement to be like, oh, you didn't deliver. Well, this, I'm going to react. I trusted you on this. How can you've had those fights that it's wait, let's explain. Let's talk about this. Because for me, at least I can only speak for myself. I don't hold grudges. Nothing. Life is too short. Unless even if it's that deep, it's we'll just respect ourselves. But I'm not about to beef you for life. I have too much to think about. But like you said, in that business, I've seen some people. I've had those situations where it's we're done. I'll give you a perfect example. I don't want to say names.
Just give us a scenario.
It was one that I did. There was a time I did a beach party, and obviously there was a quota. The person was like, they want this. We can only have this many people at the party.
Okay.
So I think they said a certain cap, 60, 70 or something. It was all right, fair. And there was a lot behind, and this is why I also learned that communication also plays a very big factor into this thing, because sometimes from your perspective you see one thing, but from their perspective they're not seeing it, and when you don't communicate,
no clarity in both ways,
So it's they said that. Long story short, that thing was double, and there's a good side of it, like business wise. Yeah, you made some money. Like,
Of
yo,
course,
it was
yeah,
double.
yeah.
We can't control that. I
Yeah.
mean, they say we were just figuring it out. So it's double, but the event goes well. It's great. But then after now is the after effects. Now is like, okay, there's this going. Why are this many people coming? This. Oh, how are we budgeting for this? Oh, this. Like those arguments come that by the time you settle the arguments, because you didn't communicate early, it's like it's already affected the personal relationship. Because obviously one side is going to feel like I went out their way for you now, and you did this. While meanwhile your perspective is this, and obviously, unfortunately, messed up the friendship and all. But moving forward, business was good. So it was like it made me realize too. Like I've also stopped putting. One thing I've stopped doing is when it comes to business, I've stopped putting my emotion too much into it, especially in Nigeria, because we'll fall into that trap sometimes.
Yeah.
Where we use our personal emotion because the person.
Yeah.
But guess what? It's
yeah,
business.
Yeah.
It should be straight numbers, straight facts.
I wanted to even talk about that because you see this aspect you're talking about now. There's a different dynamic when it's family than when it's friends. Now I've had instances where I've worked with like closer cousins or even like my immediate nuclear family, where, bruh, after that business transaction, I've just told myself, yeah, this is never happening again. Right now, I love you, you're my G, but it's never happening again. And this is also from my own receiving end. You see, because when I give you the instance of, you work with the family or the friend and it falls short and then they don't forgive you, particularly because they can tell you weren't being complacent. You were actually putting in your all to make sure everything goes well, but a lot of things are not within your control. Right? Now, there's the other side where you give them the opportunity, but then you don't even see them putting in the effort like they're trying to actually make sure like the service is properly done.
Like,
It's almost like
family now. And don't worry, it'll come now.
It's like you shouldn't be stressing me. I'm doing you a favor. No, you're not doing me a favor. I'm paying you for this service. Like, forget about the fact that we're a family. You get so. In those instances, I've had times when the person fell short and I'm just like, this is never happening again. And it's particularly not because of, it was a family. I mean, anybody could be complacent, but the fact that you're my family means you should understand that business is so important for me that you shouldn't, now I've brought you to this table. These people don't trust me anymore because you have fallen short on this service. They're coming to me now to say that this. Now I'm telling you I can't use you anymore. You're trying to make it look like I'm a bad family member. I'm sorry, but this is what happened in the last instance.
When it comes to the business, like I said, keep your emotion to yourself. I'm not saying you don't use emotion. I always say not emotion, wisdom. Use wisdom because I'll tell you. In fact, this is an inside joke, exclusive. Exclusive. But there was one Sunday last year. Now, like obviously building the business that we're with the both people we were using before. They know we already have a relationship. Like I consider some of them family because I've worked with them for years.
Yeah.
Long story short, both have gone. Me and my team are the last ones, but we're stranded. The guests have gone. No, everybody's gone. It's just our team. They know we're there, and they are being Niger slow. Excuse here. Oh, not answering phone. All that, and it's like I got so pissed. And mind you, we've paid for the service. That's the annoying part. Again, like you just said, we have paid for the service,
it's not free.
But because of the familiarity and our boys now, everything, I had to switch for the first time, and it's like, all right, you want to fuck up? No problem. I just went off on. I'm like, we ain't. Look, I need my money back by this day. Like, and then that's when I realized, especially in Nigeria, like. Even me, it's like I don't even start. One thing I'm going to start doing is just asking adults more questions, like, how do you do it? Because I don't know how you switch, like, because the thing is, you can't even go too aggressive. That's another thing in this thing in terms of working business with family and friends in this country. It's like, we're not like the West, where my emotion, like even me saying business is business. Yeah, it is, but
there's
you still have to use that.
You still have to be wise.
It's like, how do people actually navigate that? Because no matter what, we still haven't perfected it. We're still doing well in our respective fields, but we're still learning. But it's like the adults now is like, how do some of them like manage it? Like even outside asking my grandma questions, like, grandma, how do you manage this many people? And
it's a good point because I off the top of your head, the first thing that comes to mind is I'm cutting this friend off, forget this shit, like I'm never used to person again. But you see, I got to also find that, especially in my own personal experiences, right? The only time this is after, some learning and just trying to, apply some wisdom into the fact that I'm, doing business with them. What I got to find is that whenever I want to make that decision, I look at the person holistically or the people holistically, right? And when I look at their values, if the person is still trustworthy, so trustworthy in that, maybe it's a sincere that their skill set just doesn't match up to the work that I give
But them
to
as a person.
But them as a person.
Yeah,
so what I do is that I sit them down and let them understand that, look, this happens. Work is work. You couldn't meet up with the capacity that I wanted based on that business transaction. But you as a person still has very good values. I still trust you. I can still have good conversations with you without necessarily feeling like that business we had is coming in between that. And so it takes a lot because you're still emotionally damaged by that business
So
transaction.
that's where what you just said basically is that if you're going business anywhere in the world, but especially in Nigeria, you have to actually have a high level of emotional intelligence.
Yes, you do.
I tell people one thing that gets me exhausted is not the going out every time. It's not the partying and all that. Because I don't even do all that. What gets me tired is using my brain.
Yeah, having to know what friends to
manage so many relationships.
Exactly.
Manage this emotion, this with business.
Yeah.
Having to make
mentally
this
tasking.
It's mentally so exhausting.
It is. And the thing is you experience this daily. The thing is that it's even worse off with the people you meet as new friends. Oh my goodness. Because now you're excited by the new thing you're building. And so you've already made plans with each other and blah, blah, blah. Then there's one business transaction you guys have together. And you don't even know how to. You see, because unlike your old friends, there's a lot to fall back on. Like I said, you think about the person, you think about your experiences
together.
But
then the new ones, we don't know each other like
exactly.
that.
The new ones are just like, yeah, fuck this shit. Like, you just...
You see, one thing that took a lot of stress from my life that I would suggest to a lot of people to do with your friends, no matter what, lawyer.
Yeah.
Even now, I tell people straight up, because again, I still do business with a lot of people that have been friends, that I've been blessed. Like I said, we've come up together in a way that there's that long lasting relationship that the person as a whole, I'm not seeing you as a business. Like me, if I'm doing business with somebody, most times like I judge you as a person first. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care who you are. Like before maybe in my early 20s, I cared, I want big man and all that. I don't care. There's billions of people in this world to do business with. You must judge the person's character first. That's even an advice I'll give everybody, because especially in Nigeria, we all like to run to the big man that's this, big man like that. But then when they finesse you now or treating you somehow, you'd even understand the person. And it's not every big man that's wicked.
Yeah.
Every big woman even that's wicked.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good ones that are willing to even give you game, that are willing to sit you down, give you advice. You just have to use wisdom and not just be motivated and moved by the check.
Let me tell you. So let me give a quick example, because it's leading to a question I want to ask. And that question is, and I think this is even peculiar to Nigeria, because of our moral standing. So you see, if someone like, let's say like my mom, for example, introduces me to a client, right, and says, oh, this person wants to get some work done. And of course, the way Nigeria is, maybe the man or woman would say, oh, come to my office tomorrow morning and stuff like that. And so, of course, you show up at the time and then you guys talk, and then, at that point, it's not, you see, it's to start with pleasantries. Oh, how are you? How's your mom? Which is good about. Then it gets into the business. And let's say what I'm trying to do is, normally I would charge 10 million, right? And this is based on a professional level. This is not about, I'm looking at him as a big man and I want to overcharge him. My base price is 10 million, right? And so he now says, oh, what we have budgeted is 3 million naira. And I just tell him, oh, so unfortunately, I don't think I want to be able to, but I don't think I can do it at that price. And then next thing, because this is my experience, next thing, the person goes to my mom and says, why is your son behaving like this? I'm even giving him opportunity. Shouldn't he take it? He's even lucky I'm deciding to pay him for this service. Now, I'm saying this because I'm sure a lot of us have experienced or are experiencing this currently. Now, how I handled the situation was, in the end, I had to just tell myself, look, my mom is not the one that's like feeding me anymore. God bless her, she fed me for a lot of years, but she's not the one feeding me anymore right now. So if I'm agreeing for a pay that does not even put food on the table, whose fault is that? In the end, I'm going to walk away with that business transaction at a huge loss. All my mom can say is, sorry, something will come better soon. But at that time, there's even something, mentally draining about doing work that is not bringing its financial value. I'm doing work that should be giving me 10 million and I'm collecting 10 million. I would hate every second of the work I'm doing.
Oh my goodness. If we talk about
this is me really telling the younger guys or the younger ladies out there that, look, forget about that. I respect my mom or dad. If the business transaction at that time does not work for you, be respectful.
At the same time,
just be like, oh, sorry, I can't accept this offer.
I agree with you, because again, I can relate so much, because God.
Because if you tell them,
But-
it's like, what do you mean? So I brought him to my office.
there's
to say
also
no.
that's what I'm saying. There's that but. People need to understand, especially the younger generation watching this. You need to pay your dues.
Yeah.
As in, so for us at the point we are in life, we can say that.
Yes,
like,
because we've
to
been
be honest,
through
we've
the
been
shits,
through
yeah.
it. Like me,
We've
I
been
can
through
say
the-
I paid my damn dues. Like
Yeah.
in this industry, it'll
Yeah.
be just today I start this
exactly.
thing. This is 10 years of this. Now, in doing so, were there times? Do you know how many jobs I did for free?
Thank you.
Now, don't
Thank
get
you.
it twisted. And I want people to understand this, especially younger dudes to understand this. Like, in doing it for free, I wasn't just aimlessly outside, though. I wasn't just aimlessly doing the job.
Setting
That's-
paths.
That
setting
thing was
roads.
setting foundations or setting me up with people now that was bringing in other business or opening other
even if
business
it's long
opportunities.
term, even if it's the long game.
Exactly, because a lot of us don't like to think long term, especially here, which is fair because of the situation. But in life, you have to,
Yeah.
because in paying your dues, in terms of it's not, and when I say paying your dues, it's not you go and just let anybody treat you anyhow and all that, but you just need to be strategic that there's some things you're not thinking of the check right then and there.
Yes.
You're thinking of the opportunity. You're thinking of, okay, strategically, this is going to place me in a place now that I can do A, B, C.
And then you're also thinking of your peace of mind. That's
That
the key
too.
one.
I mean, because now, like, I'll give it, that's what I said. Look, there's times I wasn't making money for a minute in the things I was doing because I wasn't doing it the typical way that everybody does.
Yeah.
I wanted to do it in my own way, but in a way that I know will stand out.
Yeah.
It's just now
that
like I
is beginning
said,
to roll itself.
it's starting to roll in,
Which is
and
a
all
long
that,
game. Which is a long game. Yeah.
Because I tell people, especially for my industry, there's a lot of things I can do the fast way right now. Trust me.
Yeah.
Very easy.
Yeah.
Easy money. But longevity wise, like, it's not going to last.
Yeah, and it's not even something that you'd want. That's not
Peace
personally
of mind.
the direction
There's
you
a
want to
peace
go
of
to.
mind that is not. Is also
Exactly.
going to. That is not. That's going to take away from me. That I'm like, it's not even
It's not worth it. Yeah.
Now that the
Yeah.
money is coming in the right way,
Yeah.
I can at least say with confidence, yo, okay, those years of putting
they're
in the
beginning to
work.
pay off. Yeah, because I mean the deals that I've had to say no to that were from big men. You know, I mean big men, but they don't want to pay me the big money, and I'm just thinking to see. And I tell you, I'll turn the deals down. The person would not see me. I'll be okay with that. Like if they're not happy with me, maybe sometimes they even go as far as telling other people not to work with me. Hey, look, that's fine. You get it. But you see the peace that I got from not taking that project.
And as I said, you
Oh,
know
my
too,
days.
because like I said, there's sometimes some people hit me up that's family, legit family, that is like, yo, can you do this job for me at this price and all that? Then like you say, weighing the pros and cons. Oh, I ain't losing money on this. Okay, but opportunity wise, boom.
Exactly.
I'll do it. And even for me too, like I've been blessed too that I've gotten great deals from people that do work for me, like at my events and all that. Trust me, if they really wanted to charge me their
would
full
try-
price,
Yes, exactly. So you see,
but I
everyone
know
is-
what it does for all of us. You get what
yeah.
I'm
So
saying?
everyone
that-
is at that stage where you're taking deals for different reasons. There are some deals you take not even for the money. You take the deals because the table it's getting you to is even worth more than money. That's why you always have that question that goes, "Oh, would you have $500,000 or dinner with Jay-Z?"
No, I'll take 500,000.
Of course, easily I will.
I'm
But people
sorry.
know the value of being at the same table with someone of influence.
I mean-
that's why it's even a topic. Yeah,
Fair.
that's why it's even a question in the first place. Because they know that in some cases, some people want that dinner. Some people who, because you get to a stage where the money you're making is okay, but you need higher influence. You need like a larger map. Like where you are now.
I don't get me wrong. I do some. I won't lie to you. Sometimes I did feel like that in Nigeria because, like you say, Nigeria sometimes, especially for us youth, as we like to say, is like you can be doing your bits and making money and all that, yeah. But sometimes to reach that next level that you may want,
it's not money
it
anymore.
sometimes relies on the person, and you're like, some days I don't want to just do that. I'm not saying you don't need to network. And like for example, in America now, I just like bringing America up now because that's where a lot of the money is. But you see, like if you have a product that's good, your business model is good. Obviously, behind the scenes, you'll need to meet some people, but it's not like Nigeria where it's just like, for example, now I remember sometimes that I said there's good and bad in it.
Yeah.
There's good where it's like, what's your family name? My name is this. Yeah, I saw.
Exactly.
You know
I know
what's
what
come.
I'm saying,
That's helped me a lot more times than it should.
Yeah.
But then there's some days it's just like you hear that question from somebody you don't know, and you're just like, oh my god, like I don't have time for. I'm actually here for business. Hey, no, sit down and all this is just like, bro, we're gonna get to business.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I agree. And I think the whole thing with working with friends, because there are some people that I know that say once we are friends we can't work together. once we're family, we can't work together. I know people like that, right? Yeah, and I think those people are the ones who didn't try to really apply any kind of emotional intelligence in their transactions, and they just outrightly, oh, that person fell short, I'm not interested again. Anybody that's my friend, we can't work together. People just say that, right? I mean, I have had some people who, based on the fact that we became friends, I couldn't work with them because I could see that there will be complacency.
No. I see that.
Yeah,
there's a lot of no's I have to say.
You know what? This person won't give me like service like I'm a customer. And you see, if you're not going to give me service like I'm a customer, then I mean, there's no point of us having business.
I just say the easiest way to do it because of time and all that is you measure each other's standard in whatever respective business you do and all that.
Yeah.
You see the standard of my stuff, you better match it.
Exactly.
You better match it or your standard. That's exactly how I do business. Because especially for events, you have people coming. Oh, I want to cater. Oh, I want to do DJ. Oh, I want to do sound. I want to do this. And of course, through the years, it was mainly friends I did use. And like that's why we have such a big. I have a big community in Lagos. But now that the standard is different, it's like, hey, let's match each other's energy.
And I think for me, one last point that I think everyone needs to go away with is, as much as you want to support your friends, plug them to whatever it is. Also, when you see that your friends' products are falling short, sit them down, have a discussion.
Hey, talk. That's
now. The one that I think talk to them and let them know, look, bro, I'm ready to plug you.
Shout out to my guys.
Fix this.
My actual guys that have sat me down, because there are times like the guys don't need to actually sit you down like you said and tell you.
So you like fix your shit.
This thing you're doing well, but this thing can be better. My guys will tell me, no, this thing is actually acting up.
Yeah, or the way you're handling that, you could have handled that better.
Yeah.
The reason I've not brought you some people is because I know you spark up, or I know you things like that. And I feel like when you don't have that communication, people just feel like you are just not interested in supporting them. But then there are underlying things that are not letting you support them, and if you just have a discussion with them and let them know,
it can be fixed.
Exactly, like, bro, see, there's this big guy I want to give you, but you see, you need to check your emotions, because I know that every time someone says something off, you just forget that you are in business or you are dealing with someone, and you just, stuff like that.
That's why I said it's a blessing to have friends like that, because I had a situation like that where I tell my team that it's like, don't show, if you're stressed out, don't do it in front of everybody, because guess what? They're all watching.
Yeah.
They don't care. When you do, especially in the entertainment business, when you're doing entertainment, they don't care. For that period that your event or something, they don't care what you're going through.
They don't care.
It's a very selfish that's one thing. That's another topic for another day, but it's a very selfish industry.
Yeah.
Because nobody cares how you're feeling. Nobody cares about that. I paid money to come out. I want to have a good time. That's what people don't talk about. But we are going to talk about that another day. Don't worry.
All right, man. This was great.
Great topic. This is the kind of conversations I feel like more people should start having behind the scenes. Like, we always, that's why I say, like, even us here in Lagos, like, trust me, a lot of people think we just talk about partying and entertainment, but behind the scenes, a lot of us actually talk about real topics like this. Because in the end, for us to go out, for us to do enjoyment, you need money.
You do. For us to have women, for that money, you need to work. Work with friends, work with family, work with strangers, but you need to get that work. And a lot of this is going to help with navigating how you really work with people. I mean,
I beg any of my friends that are watching this, so plug me, or don't mind, as much as I say, plug me, or I beg. I'm ready to give percentage to anybody. Anybody want to plug me? Your percentage, D.
All right, man. So this was good.
All right, so till next time, guys. Shout out to you guys that are watching the podcast. Again, subscribe to all our channels. iTunes, Spotify, everything that's there.
So I mean, also, send us emails. We keep reading the questions. Again, we're not love doctors or anything. We just share our experiences, and if they can help you, then
that's all we can do.
So I mean, until next time, guys.
All right, guys. So next time, thank you.
All right then.